By the end of this video, you'll know if this war of mine is still worth playing in 2024. Unlike traditional war games, this war of mine doesn't glorify combat or strategy on the battlefield. Instead, it places you in the shoes of civilians struggling to survive in a war-torn city. The game is gritty, emotional, and brutally honest about the consequences of war. You manage a small group of survivors, scavenging for resources, crafting essential items, and making moral decisions that can haunt you. It's a deeply personal experience where survival is a constant struggle, and every choice feels heavy. The gameplay still holds up remarkably well in 2024. Its day-night cycle keeps the tension high. During the day, you manage your shelter, crafting beds, cooking meals, and upgrading your workstations. At night, you send out one survivor to scavenge for supplies in dangerous, war-ravaged locations. The resource management aspect feels as punishing as ever. Food, medicine, and materials are always in short supply, forcing you to prioritize what matters most. And then there's the moral dilemma. Should you steal from a helpless elderly couple to save your group? Or risk losing a survivor by searching for supplies in an active war zone? These mechanics haven't aged a day, and they still provide an experience that's both stressful and rewarding. Visually, this war of mine sticks to its dark and sketchy aesthetic, perfectly capturing the bleakness of war. While it doesn't boast cutting-edge graphics, its hand-drawn style and somber tone remain effective. The sound design plays a huge role in immersing you in this grim world. The distant sounds of gunfire, the creaking of your shelter, and the melancholic background music create an atmosphere that pulls you in. For those revisiting the game, the biggest update comes in the form of the Forget Celebrations Charity DLC. This expansion brings new scenarios and characters, all tied to the struggles of celebrating even the smallest moments during wartime. The DLC adds a fresh layer of storytelling, focusing on how hope and togetherness can persist even in the darkest times. It introduces new moral dilemmas. Should you save resources to celebrate a rare occasion, knowing it might compromise your survival? Or should you skip the celebrations altogether to secure more supplies? All proceeds from the DLC go to charity, which adds a meaningful layer to the content. It's not just an expansion, it's a reminder of the real-world impact that wars have on civilians. If you've played this war of mine before, this DLC offers a reason to return and experience its storytelling in a new light. As impactful as this war of mine is, it's not without its flaws. The gameplay loop can feel repetitive over time. Once you've mastered the mechanics, the sense of discovery diminishes. The game's steep difficulty curve can also frustrate newcomers. The lack of hand-holding makes every mistake costly, which may deter some players. While this aligns with the game's theme, it's something to consider if you prefer a more forgiving experience. Lastly, while the Forget Celebrations DLC adds value, it doesn't drastically change the core gameplay. If you're looking for significant new mechanics or systems, this expansion might not deliver on that front. Over the years, this war of mine has released several DLCs, each offering new perspectives and content. The Little Ones introduces children as survivors, adding emotional and gameplay challenges as you balance their care with survival. Father's Promise tells a touching story of a father trying to protect his daughter, offering a linear, narrative-driven experience. The Last Broadcast focuses on a radio operator making difficult choices about truth, propaganda, and safety, introducing new mechanics around broadcasting. Fading Embers explores cultural preservation, challenging players to protect artifacts or prioritize survival with unique mechanics. The War Child Charity DLC features art and music inspired by the game, with proceeds supporting children affected by war. This war of mine remains a standout game in 2024. Its focus on storytelling and moral choices makes it a timeless experience. Whether you're new to the game or revisiting it, the emotional impact of its gameplay and narrative is hard to find elsewhere. That wraps up our review of this war of mine. If you're interested in zombie survival experience, check out our review of Dread Dawn. Click the link and see if it's the next game for you. See you there.